We had a nursery school. That's how we started. Mothers got together and actually found we needed to have organized nursery school for our children.
The sooner we could get our teens back in each other's presence, the better it was for their well-being. And this building made that possible.
My name is Helen Jackson Hetherington. I have lived in the Enfield community all my life. And in fact, my father moved in the house I live in 1906. We realized we needed to have programs for our children. Even though there was a Grange that was separate, had Boy Scouts and all that, but to offer different programs that would bring the families together as families and children together, not just for boys, not just, or it was for everybody. That's what was nice. The Enfield Community Council is for everybody. When we started back in 1975, we weren't a year-round program in 75, we had a nursery school. That's how we started, with a nursery school. Mothers got together and actually around 1974, and we found we needed to have more of a organized nursery school for our children. So we proceeded to, a number of us mothers, find somebody that could be a teacher for us. And probably 75, and that's when we started as a nursery school. We held it initially in the basement of the Enfield Methodist Church. And by 1979, we had our nursery school in the Grange. And we were functioning with a teacher, a nursery school teacher, 5 mornings a week by that time. And they were any place from 12 to 20 kids. We had to have fundraisers. We did many different things to fundraise, but our big event was our Enfield Fall Festival, Enfield Community Council Fall Festival. And we initially had them at the Grange, and then we moved on to the Enfield School, and I'm not sure what year that started, but we would have many vendors. We would have any place over 30 to 40 vendors. And the very first Harvest Festival, Nina Linton made a pillow, quilted pillow, and Jim Linton donated a lamb as one of the prizes. That was I had to be 75 or 76. That was our first Harvest Festival at the Enfield School. And I won both of them. We brought raffle tickets just like they do now for the quilt. And I won both of them. I won the pillow and the lamb. And that was interesting. But after that, the senior citizens of Enfield, the very active senior citizen group back then, and they started making quilts and donating them.
My name is Courtney Bailey. I am the president of the Enfield Community Council. I was 24, so I've been here for 25 years almost. I run all of our meetings and trying to take all of the good ideas that everybody has and figuring out which ones are feasible, what is most needed, and what we can do now and what we have to make further plans for, and what just isn't our jurisdiction and needs to go to somebody else, and help find who that organization or department in the government is to make those needs met. The Enfield Community Council since February of 21 has actually had a physical location at 162 Enfield Main Road in a former church that we purchased for the community center. Prior to that, we held our programs wherever we could. Some were held at Boynton Middle School, some were held at the Enfield Elementary School, some were held at the Grange, some were held in the downstairs of the courthouse, the Enfield Courthouse, and some were held at the Lower Tremont Park, wherever we needed to go to have the space needed to meet our programming. The community council, before I was a part of it, had already been trying to figure out where we could buy land to build or purchase a building already in place to make our programs more successful, to give us place to store the documents we legally have to maintain and all of that. This has been a huge excitement. We were over the moon. We couldn't have asked for a better placement because it's very central. It already had a playground in place. It had all of the facilities that were needed, handicapped restrooms, adequate water supply. It's actually 20 feet longer than the building we had planned. Right after COVID shutdown had happened, we started negotiations, which really was a lifesaver for our programs. We actually started using the building in September, end of August, beginning of September of 2020, with the permission of the Hetheringtons who owned it before we even closed. And I think it truly saved our kids from being completely isolated. One of our board members wrote a grant to the Ithaca Rotary Club, and they got a grant for, I believe it was $900, to build a self-watering rainwater collection for the garden. So that will be made in the spring, and that is a community garden. The teens and summer camp help with it, but any member of the community can come up and help, and they can also come up and get produce from it. So that's huge for us. The book walk came about because the Enfield Elementary School had a capital project which required the closing of both indoor and outdoor of the school. And they said, you know, this is actually a better placement for it because you guys are open year round. And the parents can bring their kids up and do the book walk and go to the playground. The basketball court actually had been in place, but it had never been blacktopped. It had just been prepped to go to a basketball court. So it really wasn't workable, judging from the amount of debris and grass growing through the preparations. It had been put in many, many, many years before and never finished. The town actually wrote a grant and got the majority of the money to pay for the blacktopping, the finishing of it, through their grant, and then voted to cover the remainder of the cost. We put in the library. This room used to formerly be the nursery room for during services when it was a church. Eventually, one of our long-term goals is to change the kitchen area into an actual full commercial grade kitchen. We also are planning on putting in a generator so that this can be used as a full emergency shelter. We need more volunteers, and not just people who are stepping in for a day. We need people who are willing to take on, even if it's only once a month I'm coming in and I'm going to help clean. If I could get 5 people who are willing to be a once a month cleaning crew, that would be excellent. And for those of you who are busy, who might have a little extra, we're a tax break donation. If you're a grant writer, that is a huge help too. If you're someone who can hunt down grants and get the paperwork filled out, I will give you all of the numbers you need and all of the reports you need to do it. If you can get us grants, that is a lifesaver too, because that brings in money that is specifically for a task